Well, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today for the Journal of Science Policy and Governance's open house about our 2023-2024 Ambassador Program. My name is Matt Martin. I'm the Program Manager with JSPG that oversees the program, and I'm really appreciative of your interest in the program and hope this will give you some insight into sort of what we have planned for the year, as well as what we're looking for in terms of applications. So just to give you a high-level overview of where we're headed today, I'm going to give a brief introduction to JSPG, also then dive into the program, the master program itself, and then have an opportunity for those ambassadors who are in attendance to share their perspectives and share some previous thoughts we have from our current cohort, and then give you some information about the application, and then finally wrap things up with a Q&A where you all can ask any questions you'd like about the application, the program, JSPG, etc. So with that in mind, I want to go ahead and get started with a little bit of an introduction about JSPG. So the Journal of Science Policy and Governance is an internationally recognized open access peer-reviewed publication. It's been around since 2011. And its primary focus is to help bolster the research and writing credentials in the policy space for early career scholars. So that can range from undergraduate and graduate students all the way through to early career professionals and postdocs. We publish a wide variety of materials, from op-eds to white papers to your sort of traditional academic articles on a wide range of topics across the entire STEM field. If you go to our website, sciencepolicyjournal.org, and you look at our issues, you can see that there is a really wide variety of topics that we are publishing on. So if you are ever interested in publishing for the journal, there's a lot of opportunities there. And more broadly, we really are aiming to help focus on amplifying the voices of the next generation of science policy leaders internationally. We do that in a lot of ways, through collaborations, through our podcasts, through presentations, events, engagement with media, et cetera. And this part right here, this amplifying the voices part, is really where our main focus of the Ambassador Program lies. Just to give you a little bit of an insight into our published work, so typically we publish 2 standard issues a year, as well as between 2 to 4 special topic issues. Standard issues are open to everyone. They can be in any format, and they sort of can touch on any aspect of science and technology policy, whereas our special topics usually are developed in partnership with another organization and are particularly focused in their scope or topic. So what you see here on this slide is an example of the 2 recent special editions we've had, one with UNESCO looking on open science topics, and the other with the Lancet Commission on global health futures that is focused on advances and transformations in digital health, particularly in youth. So a wide variety of topics that we cover and publish and help amplify through our work. But beyond publications, we do a lot of other activities, which the ambassadors are in particular are particularly involved with. So that can be highlighting the work that we have published in the journal through our podcasts, through conference panels, presentations to our partners and other collaborating organizations, through social media promotion, but also through public engagement, whether that be through media outlets, responding to requests for information, reaching out internationally as well. Often with our special issues and our standard issues, we often host writing workshops and other webinars to help potential applicants and publishers build those writing and policy skills. And then where the Ambassador Program really fits in is in the career development space. So we have the Ambassador Program, we have our editorial board, we also do a science policy certificate program. So there's a wide variety of options beyond the publication sphere that we work in as well. And so what you see here is just a sort of really brief overview of some of the most recent things that we have going on at the journal, whether it be panels that we're participating in, the workshops for our most recent call for papers with APS that we have coming up this year, our most recent episode of our podcast celebrating the 10th anniversary of the journal, as well as opportunities that some of our authors have had because of their work with the journal to go and speak at a large venue like at UNESCO's annual meeting to share their work and share it broadly. So there's a wide variety of work going on at the journal, and we're really excited to have our ambassadors be a part of that as well. A little bit of an overview about the team. So we have, excuse me. We have a pretty small team, but we do a lot in a lot of different areas. So we are headed up by Adriana Bankston, who is our CEO and managing publisher of the journal. She's been with JSPG for quite some time, and she sort of oversees a lot of the core work of the journal, both on the publication side and on the operation side of things, helping cultivate our partnerships with other organizations and helping sort of provide leadership to the journal overall. And then the rest of our main core staff team, as you can see pictured here, really spans the gamut from across the journal, from communications to events to podcasts, etc. These are the people that if you are selected as an ambassador who you would be directly working with, they would be serving as your supervisors and mentors throughout the program, and you would be supporting the various projects that they are working on in their respective departments and teams during your time with the journal. We also have additional advisors and staff, as well as our editorial board and governing board, which you can all learn more about and read their bios on our website if you are interested. And so diving into a bit about the Ambassador Program itself. So when we launched this program last year was really the first big format for the program when it was a 6-month program. We've expanded it into a 1-year program for this cycle. We have 4 core objectives. One is to help support our ongoing work, to help our staff and our leadership advance the projects that we are doing to help expand the journal's impact and amplify the voices of the work that we are publishing on behalf of early career scholars. We also want to provide a meaningful opportunity for undergraduate and graduate students to get exposed to the role of science policy and publishing, and also provide meaningful career development for everyone, whether that be through mentorship, skill building opportunities, other sort of ambassador exclusive opportunities to help you get launched in a career in science policy. But then also to help create a sense of camaraderie and connection between the cohort of ambassadors that we have in a given cycle, to help sort of build those connections and help you build your network as you take those next steps. So with that in mind, I want to get into a little bit of the details of the program. So this program will run for a full year. We anticipate the start to be in May of this year, and it will run until April of 2024. It is a part-time opportunity that's done on a volunteer basis. It is almost completely remote, and is therefore is open to both participants and applicants in the US as well as based outside of the US. The average time commitment that we expect for the position is about 1 to 3 hours per week. That will depend on the team you're working on and sort of the needs of the journal at any given moment. Plus, there will be some additional events that we will be hosting, some of the professional development opportunities that will be optional, but will sort of add on to that time depending on your schedules. And then looking at the cohort, we aim to recruit about 2 to 3 ambassadors for each team. So we have 6 teams, which you can see listed on this slide here, across the journal, working on various projects. And we will have it set up so that if you look at the application, you can select which teams or which type of work you'd be most interested in, and we will work to place you in the corresponding teams there. And you'll also have an opportunity to rotate, so you get exposure to a couple of the different teams that we have on the journal, so you can sort of see what the different work looks like from the different perspectives. And then beyond that core part, there's sort of 3 major components of the ambassador program that we have. So the first is this project support aspect, so working alongside the leadership at JSPG to advance our projects, routinely engaging with staff on a weekly basis to help advance those projects and get a better understanding of how the journal operates from this perspective. And then also getting public recognition for your role and contributions. Your information will be published on our website and will be shared broadly amongst our network as an ambassador. The second core component of this is professional development. So we're developing a structured mentorship system where you'll get direct mentorship from staff as well as peers, whether that be other ambassadors or members of our editorial board. Opportunities for career events that are focused specifically on ambassadors and are open to your interests and professional needs, whether that be hosting journal clubs or career chats or learning more about the sort of intricacies of academic publishing, as well as opportunities for writing like on our blog or helping with support news announcements and press releases that we put out. So you can help build those writing skills. And then sort of through all of that, working on developing skills in a host of areas in science communication, policy writing, project management, interpersonal skills, working with external partners. There's a wide array and variety of opportunities that we think really fit in with the ambassador program. And then the third and final component is sort of a cohort collaboration. So there are, like I mentioned previously, we really want to help cultivate camaraderie amongst the people in our cohort. So that is the opportunity to engage with cohort members who will span a wide variety of academic disciplines, will be both undergraduate and graduate level. You'll be working together on projects that span the full cohort and not just limited to your individual team. So you can work together and leverage the skills that you've developed during your time as an ambassador to advance sort of a cohort-wide project, as well as help, of course, build interpersonal skills. And then the opportunity to engage with JSPG staff, our editorial board, and other science policy professionals in the space, all of whom contribute to JSPG in addition to their regular full-time jobs. And so there's a wide variety of expertise and career paths that are represented amongst our staff that you can certainly sort of glean from as you chart your own science policy journey. And then just to give a little bit of an overview of some of the projects that our current ambassadors have been working on. As I said, the spectrum of projects and work can really vary depending on the team and the week. But here on this slide, you see just a sort of a sample of some of the projects that have been going on. We've had ambassadors who have been helping prepare graphics for our website and our social media promotion related to upcoming issues and events. We've had ambassadors spearhead some of our outreach and send emails and communicate with international and domestic partners to help amplify our issues, announce upcoming events, and help cultivate our partnerships for future issues. We also have a system of internal databases that help us track our staff, our authors, our editors, our issues, and track engagement with those issues. And so ambassadors have been intimately involved in helping manage those databases and those spreadsheets to make sure that we are maximizing our impact and know where we are headed for the next year. Also, for our various workshops and webinars that we host attached with our issues, ambassadors have been intimately involved in helping coordinate the logistics of those and prepare the materials for those. And then as well as for our podcast that we are working on, helping with the recording and the coordinating of speakers and the editing and the full sort of spectrum of that development as well. And so those projects are largely determined by the needs of the JSPG staff. When you are placed on your team, initially when you start the program with one of our staff members, they will work with you to help select a project within their scope of their work that best suits your interests and also best sort of helps them. And then sort of the projects can evolve over time. But at the same time, we also want to make sure that ambassadors are able to pursue the projects that are really of interest to you and pursue opportunities that may be outside of that specific project you're working with a staff member. What you see here on the right is a couple of our ambassadors in the communication side took the initiative and decided to launch a sort of ambassador spotlight series that we've been including on our website and promoting, where they've been conducting interviews with the other ambassadors and learning more about their science policy interests and their experience with the journal. And so that is an example of a project that was done sort of outside of the routine work that those ambassadors were doing, but that still allows them to sort of develop those skills that I talked about on the previous slide. And then I want to briefly just sort of share a quick highlight of the skills and perspectives that our ambassadors from the current cohort have said about the program. So you can see here 2 examples of quotes from current ambassadors from the 2022 program who really talk about the value of the program, the collaborative nature of it, and the way that the program really is aimed at supporting your professional development, your career path. We want this program to be something that is valuable to everyone that participates in the program and that is really personalized and individualized to help support your needs and your interests. And so we are really dedicated to developing curriculum and programming that really addresses those topics. And then sort of the last thing before I get into the Q&A here, just a quick information about the application itself. So the application is live on our website. It is an online Google form, which you'll be able to fill out there. In terms of the mandatory requirements that we ask for the program, we ask that you are currently enrolled in an undergraduate or graduate degree program. The discipline of that degree program can vary widely, including natural sciences, social sciences, humanities. If you look at the biographies of our current ambassadors on our website, you can see there is a full spectrum of academic disciplines represented. So do not let that dissuade you from applying. We do ask that you commit to a 1-year term if you are selected, with that 1 to 3 hour per week time commitment that I discussed previously. And then the other largest, biggest mandatory requirement is that during your time as an ambassador, due to conflict of interest considerations, you will not be able to publish with the journal during that 1-year period while you're sort of serving on the internal operations side of the staff. And that's something that we have across the board for our staff and for our editorial board as well. And then touching briefly on what we're looking for our applicants. Again, this is something that the program is designed to be widely tailored to a lot of different individuals. And so we encourage you to apply regardless of your scientific expertise or where you are in your career path right now. We generally are looking for individuals who are interested in science policy and want to get more into this world or the academic publishing sphere. Someone who is self-motivated, who seeks out these types of career development opportunities and wants to help advance their career and get more professional development. Someone who highlights a willingness to learn and develop new skill sets that you would be doing as an ambassador through work on these various teams. Also, again, working well with others in teams, particularly in remote settings. So the journal is a fully remote organization. And then finally, having some familiarity with sort of common collaboration tools that we use on a day-to-day basis, whether that be our Google Drive, Slack, Asana, those sort of core tools that help us run the journal and help us create content for the journal. And then in terms of the timeline and next steps, so applications, as I said previously, can be submitted online via the form on our website. There's also a link here on this slide. We are accepting applications through March 7th. So that is, I believe, in 2 weeks from today. And then after we review internal applications internally, we will then reach out to selected applicants for an interview, ideally sometime in April, so that you will be able to start and begin the program in May of 2023. And with that, I want to thank you all for tuning in and for listening. I hope this information has been valuable as you consider applying to the program. And I want to open the floor if there are any questions that you may have about the program, about anything I've said today, about JSPG. If there's anything that you think I didn't touch on, feel free to either drop your question in the chat or unmute yourself and ask your question live.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so thank you so much for all this information. This was great. I had a question because so a little bit of background about myself. I'm a PhD biomedical sciences student right now, well, candidate. And right now I'm very early in my career naturally as a third year. And also I'm very early trying to get into science policy and all that stuff. I don't have a lot of experience. I just got my first science policy related experience this past month. And I was digging in the webpage for the journal, and I found that there are two internships. There's this one, and then there's the associate editor internship, I think. I was wondering, based on your experience working for the journal, which one do you think would be more adequate for people who are literally just starting, have no idea about all of these things? My intuition is telling me that perhaps the ambassador one, but I wanted to know your thoughts on that.
Sure. So I would say that between the two programs, that the ambassador program, I think, is tailored more to those who are just getting started in the world of science policy. Though certainly we have individuals serving as ambassadors now who have had some experience in the past and wanted to get the sort of different experience, because the editor program is really focused on the editorial side of the journal, helping review the articles and help develop issues for the journal. So I would say that, given your exposure thus far, the idea is really that this ambassador program is a launching pad for that. If at the very least, because the staff that you would be engaging with have all taken very different career paths to get into science policy themselves. And so the idea is that through the sort of the engagement with them, you're able to sort of get a broader perspective of what the science policy world looks like. So that's what I would say between the two programs is the sort of core difference, is that the editorial program is more for those who have had perhaps a bit more experience in the science policy space and are interested more in the sort of hands-on, editorial side of the journal, whereas the ambassador program is better suited for those who have just started into their science policy careers and then are more interested in the sort of operations side, the events, the podcasts, the communications, all of those other areas that help us amplify the work of the journal.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And if no one else has a question, I have a second question. Partaking to the professional development side of the ambassador program. Can you give me some examples and of the things that they did in the professional development area, and how have they helped you for your next steps, whatever?
Sure. So I can say for the current cohort, some of the professional development opportunities that we've provided is we've hosted a series of what we've called career chats. So we've invited individual members of our staff, and we have one with the assistant editors in chief coming up this week for the ambassadors right now, to sort of casually talk about their career paths, to talk about what got them interested in science policy, what their first steps were like, what resources were valuable to them, to sort of share those insights with the ambassadors, and also provide a networking opportunity for the ambassadors to connect with those individuals who they may not be working with on a weekly basis, depending on what team they're currently placed with, to get a better insight into what those sort of a career in science policy can look like. So that's sort of been one of the core programs and professional development opportunities that we've been developing. I will say that for this upcoming cohort in 23, the 2023-24 cohort, we are looking to build that out more now that this will be a full year program, into a more structured system that has structured mentoring where there's coaching developed both for our staff and then also for the ambassadors. We also plan to host journal clubs. So, for example, say we have a issue that we've just released, having an ambassador select an article in that journal or in that issue, and circulating it amongst the cohort, and then having a meeting to talk about it, to sort of get in the weeds of the science policy issues and help develop that policy analysis skill and those things. Those are the sort of professional development opportunities that we're aiming to develop for this next cycle. So at the same time, we really want this to be something that is very flexible and tailored to the interests of our cohort. And so at any moment, if there's something that an ambassador would like to see added to the program, or would like, an event they would like to have, or something they would like to learn more about, we keep a sort of open channel for them to submit those ideas and recommendations. And we do our best to incorporate as many ideas as possible so that everybody gets an enriching professional development experience out of it. So that's sort of just sort of a example of a few of the different things that we have. on the professional development sphere.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That sounds amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any other questions? If not, feel free after this meeting or at any time until the application closes to email me. My email is on the slide here, mmartin@sciencepolicyjournal.org. Feel free to send any other questions you may have about the program or about the application. And then just to wrap things up here, I want to thank you again for attending this open house. I hope it has been an informative experience for everyone. You can apply to be an ambassador. You can visit our career page, which is the link is there. There's also a QR code which you can scan if you'd like to take you directly to the application. Our applications close Tuesday, March 7th, so that's 2 weeks from today. So I encourage everyone to apply as soon as possible if you're interested in the program. And then beyond that, feel free to connect with JSPG. We are active on a variety of social media channels. We post many of our events and webinars and workshops on our YouTube channel after the fact. Check out our podcast, which is on SoundCloud. And then, of course, if you're interested in getting more routine updates about JSPG and learning about our latest issues and upcoming opportunities, feel free to subscribe to our newsletter as well to get all of that information. And so with that, I want to thank you again for all coming, and feel free to reach out if you have any other questions, and I look forward to reviewing all of your applications. Thanks so much.